And Congressman Comer has made several stops across several western Kentucky counties over the last couple of months to meet with people in his district affected by the deadly and destructive storms that swept across Kentucky back in December. And Congressman Comer rejoins us here on In Focus Kentucky. And Congressman, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me back on.
Absolutely. I want to ask you first, Congressman, to take us back to that time in December when the tornadoes first came through on that Friday night. Where were you, and how did you first learn that there was a severe weather event happening here in the Commonwealth, but also in your district?
Well, I was at home and got a call that night from my field representative, Corey Elder, who's from Mayfield, whose mother actually owns a business in Mayfield that was hit by the tornado. And he was trying to describe on the phone how bad it was. And it was just hard to imagine until I went there the next morning. Of course, I live 4 hours east of Mayfield. My district's very spread out, as you know. It was just hard to imagine from the phone call how bad it was. And when I got there, it was just shocking to see the amount of devastation.
And share with us more about that, too, about that devastation. Obviously, you've been elected in public office for many, many years. Have you seen devastation to this level like this before in person?
No, I've seen a lot of tornado damage. Tornadoes just rip everything up in sight. But the overwhelming majority of damage I've seen from a tornado was out in rural areas. It may have gone through a bunch of barns. It may have gone through a little strip in a populated community, but the width of that tornado, it was almost a mile wide in certain spots and 222 miles long. So the width and length of that tornado was like none I've ever seen. And unfortunately, the path went through a lot of towns, not just Mayfield and Dawson Springs, but Earlington and other communities that had quite a bit of population. So never seen anything like it. Hope to never see anything like it again.
And we'll talk about some of the feedback you had been receiving, especially when the president was in town. But I guess what were some of your immediate next steps when you were seeing it in person? Were you, I guess, quick to start making the phone calls from your federal perspective and working on getting things arranged for recovery efforts?
Right. Well, we wanted to make sure FEMA was on the ground as quick as possible, and they were. FEMA was on the ground and within 24 hours. The first priority is the people. You want to make sure that everyone's been rescued and recovered, and that took several days. As you know, the whole national media was down there and did a good job. I don't brag on CNN and MSNBC very often, but they did a really good job covering what was going on in Mayfield and letting America know. And I think that led to a lot of private charitable donations for the people in West Kentucky that needed help. So just mainly making sure that everyone was accounted for, making sure that everyone had a roof over their head. And then the next phase was working with the local elected officials to make sure that they got reimbursed for debris removal. I can't emphasize enough how important that was to these